This is, of course, the Future Investment Initiative, the 9th edition in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Arise News, we're here, boots on the ground, be talking to so many executives, and we are incredibly happy to have Mr. Kola Karim, chairman of the Shoreline Group. Thank you, sir, for talking to Arise. It's great to see you here.
Thank you.
You were part of a panel. You talked about leadership, an incredibly pertinent topic wherever you are around the world. Can you share with us some of your thoughts that you shared on that panel, how important leadership is? And I think you talked about the social contract as well.
I think leadership has become the very core of globalization, right? Because if you take leadership, public and private sector, because we tend to feel leadership should only focus on public sector, but the social contract should be with both public and private sector, because the inherent modality around leadership is how much you have to give in whatever sphere that you're working in. One of the focus of the discussion is looking at the sectors that we're working in the natural resources and infrastructure. Part of that leadership in social contract is our communities, right? Because the peace you enjoy in whatever you do is got to be, as a leader, the social contract you imbibe and put around what you're trying to deliver with the community. So if you look at the Niger Delta as an example, our social contract as a business with the communities we engage in is what helps us build and run a successful, safe, secure business. And that's the core. It was a very, very interesting thing, because you're talking about global mining company CEOs were there. Then you've got global natural resource providers as well were there. And what the world, if you see post-pandemic, the world is being run in a silo type of way, because global leadership has failed in a lot of ways. So people are not taking responsibility. So let's take it now to the private sector. If the public sector is failing, let private sector rise up to the occasion. So by that, energizing that social contract, you'll start feeling the difference. And that's the key core message from this FII conference.
Gotcha. Look, you're, as you've mentioned, in the oil and gas sector. Everyone that comes here, every time, and you've been attending this now for a while, FII, the infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, the way they've used their oil and gas resources to produce what we're seeing here, which everyone marvels at, and also to diversify away from it. Can you speak to that? Because we're from an oil and gas nation as well, and all this is going on. What do you make of what they've done?
Look, what the Saudi government has done is a phenomenal build-up. But there was a plan, right? It's not like in Nigeria and African states, we don't have a plan. The problem with the plan is execution and sticking with the plan.
Yeah.
What this country has done over the years, I've been coming here now for 30 years. You've seen the difference, and it's now practically every quarter you see a difference. If you look at the infrastructure development that's going on, from railways to highways, airports, water, sanitation. I've just come from another meeting that we had discussions yesterday about infrastructural development on a rapid scale. Even building for what you don't need now, but what you need for the future. So the key is this. These guys have focused on building their cash base. That's why the creation of the PIF, their sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah.
And what is the dictate of the sovereign wealth fund? How they're going to preserve the kingdom by building adequate infrastructure for now and for the future, but more importantly, preserve the wealth of the kingdom to generate future revenues for the future of this country. So when you look at a country like Nigeria, this is what we need to do. It's not only Nigeria. Africa is blessed with over 26% of global natural resources.
Right.
Yet why are we so poor? If you talk about age groups, in age measurements, Africa's got the youngest population on planet Earth. Over 65% under the age of 30. So if you look at all dynamics, Africa should be on the tick. But why are we failing? Simple.
Yeah. Execution.
Execution. You need to execute. Nigeria, as an example, has installed capacity about 12,000 megawatts. Why are we generating only 4,500, 5,000? How many kilometers of railway is in Nigeria, a country of 220, and by 2050, we're looking at 400 million? How are people going to move? How goods and services are going to move from A to B? Right? We focus more on who, other than the construct of getting it done.
Yeah.
That's the key. In this country, who have you heard talk about who got that contract?
Right.
Get it done,
Yeah.
professionally executed, professional to international standards. That's the key to the bottom line.
Now, okay, speaking of Nigeria, thanks for bringing that up. I want to get your thoughts on where the country is going at this point in terms of oil and gas and the diversification of energy. We've got, of course, fuel subsidies, everybody, they've been removed. Prices have gone up. To try to augment that, the government has introduced the compressed natural gas. They're trying to use that as an alternative for, folks to be able to travel, a more affordable alternative. And also on the, I guess, revenue side, trying to boost oil barrels per day production to about 3 million or so or more, I think by 2030 or so. What do you make, I guess whichever one you want to take first, what do you make of those initiatives?
Let me unpack that slowly.
Yeah.
The first thing is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government has done is an amazing game changer for the oil and gas industry. First is the executive order.
Yeah.
The executive order, if you work back, pre the executive order, all operators in and around the oil and gas sector in Nigeria can only spend $2 million.
Cap. Yeah.
Cap.
Yeah.
This executive order moved that to 10. Now, let me give you and quantify that. $2 million would not even buy a compressor. That's a necessity to operate in the oil and gas sector. So you can imagine what used to happen before. So if you needed a compressor, remember, the problem in Nigeria is not about reserves. Nigeria has 47 billion barrels of reserves, 210 TCF of natural gas. The problem of Nigeria's oil and gas sector is above ground infrastructure because they're aging. If you look at some of the plants we're running Clark compressors installed in 1974.
Wow.
It's older than most people.
Yeah, it's older than me.
We have pipelines that were installed in 1969.
Yeah.
There's no practical, well thought of industry that would operate like that efficiently. So the inefficiencies is not today, it's crept in. So what the government did, by the president signing that executive order, put a big game changer to the table. Now, $10 million can be spent. So the production that's going up is not by accident. So companies like ourselves can go out, buy equipment, get them flown in, install them, and natural production's going up. That's on one side.
Yeah.
So if you see what we're enjoying, Nigeria is now what, 1.6, 1.7 million barrels?
Right.
And on the up, there's a target of 3 million. Nigeria has had more rig count than we've seen in the last 30 years.
That's right, yeah.
Why? Because the executive order has made it easy and streamlined a lot of investments in the industry by making it very, very easy to get things done.
Okay.
So a lot of drilling activity is taking place. Interface with NNPC is streamlined. The communities, more importantly, must be brought to book by saying these guys have been wonderful. The PIA has brought everyone to work together because look, at the end of the day, 90% of our foreign exchange earnings from oil and gas.
That's right, yeah.
So it doesn't matter how you look at it. If the oil and gas industry catches a cold, Nigerian economy will catch a cold.
Right.
So we never forget that is what this government has done. Take the bull by the horn, focus on that sector, make sure they're delivering, and the president setting the 3 million. Now you see all the drilling rigs coming in. We will achieve and surpass that. The problem we're seeing is, yes, there's a dislocation, the Russia-Ukraine crisis. The US president, what did he say? Drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why is Nigeria not drill, baby, drill? So the focus shouldn't be 3 million. The focus target by 2030 should be 5 million barrels.
Gotcha.
Because America's at 12.5 million barrels now. And they want to go to 15. Saudi Arabia is 11.5. They want to increase. Think about it. 10 years ago, UAE was producing the same as Nigeria. 2.5 million barrels. Today, they are 4.2. So we should not take this for granted. We need to continue to invest to drive this up. Now, let me unpack the gas. Nigeria with 210 TCF, the gas value chain. With 210 TCF, that, to quantify it, we're only on 7th train LNG. That's terrible. 7th train LNG. countries that do not have the size of the reserves we have are on 15th train LNG. If you look at a country like Qatar, they've got 20th train GTL plants working.
Only like 2 million people in Qatar.
There you go.
Right.
But Nigeria, the good thing is we're blessed with the reserves. So what do? We focus in growing the gas. You see, you cannot build and increase your oil production without producing more gas.
Right.
So it's got to work hand in hand. And the real focus is by making them work hand in hand, there's got to be investments directed into the gas sector to optimizing gas production, gas processing. Then comes CNG, right? Government's idea around CNG deployment all over the country is a great one. But what is important is CNG is gas. Right. You have to transport it, and transporting it is not easy because it's got to be safe. Also, the dispensing of CNG also is not in an ordinary dispenser. So the cost to the whole value chain is high. That's got to be looked at. So that way you see, it doesn't matter how many buses you have. Without effective CNG distribution to make them effective, it wouldn't bear the fruits.
Gotcha.
So those have to work well in an interactive form or format to make sure they work together.
Fantastic. Just love one more question, actually, because I know you're pressed for time. We had Aliko Dangote on the show. My colleague, Georgina Nukwe, spoke to him. And there was a part of the conversation where she asked him about the energy transition. And he kind of said, well, it's going to be about 15, 20 plus years until that happens, that, the whole EV craze is a bit overhyped because a lot of Nigerians don't have, stable electricity. What's your thoughts on energy transition, renewables, and fossil fuels, EVs? I mean, allow you to tee off on that.
This is very, very important. Look, I think as an African and as a Nigerian, Africa only measurement is under 3% to global standards, right? So why is the world trying to benchmark us on the same level at the same time? Let's just dial back.
Right.
Remember the first tier, that's the OECD countries. Some of these countries are going on their fourth industrial revolution, right? But Africa, we've not even had our first.
Right.
So it's unfair to put the same norms and standards on us as on them, right? The whole of Africa is 3%. So what I think we need to do is very simple. The whole thing of environment is important. But Africa's actually got the best measure in building a very structured energy value chain. Why? There's a lot of water around the continent. So hydro, there's nothing cleaner than that in clean energy. Sun on the continent. So photovoltaic, solar, all over the continent will work well. And more importantly, we have an energized young population.